Welcome to the Washdown podcast. And on today's episode, Jarrett Blanton comes back, and me, him, and Chris have a great conversation about all kinds of stuff. So we had a great time making it. Hope you guys enjoy it. So don't forget to like and subscribe on all the platforms. Follow us on Instagram, all that good stuff. So, yeah, here you go. The Washdown podcast with special guest Jarrett Blanton. And Chris Nelson joins too. So there you go. Are you trying to kill me?
For 20 years. I'm all about the slow game.
The long game.
Slow and low.
Slow and low.
Speaking of that, let's just jump right into that. Talk about what we were talking about before, the Chaos GPT. So this episode is going to be a little bit different for everybody, or a lot of the same. We're going to ramble and talk about random
Nothing.
shit.
We're like Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, exactly. So
Newest episode.
yeah. So I read an article yesterday about the AI, the Chaos GPT, right? And it's specifically designed to destroy the world. Well, it goes through all these iterations of, it was trying to get nuclear weapons. Well, it wasn't successful with that. And then it's decided that it's going to do like the long game, basically, of it's going to get on Twitter, get a bunch of followers, and then start, destabilizing and causing chaos and all that stuff.
Name of the episode, I've already got it.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to play a game? For all you youngins, look it up.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Just with that, like you were saying, the Chaos GPT and stuff like that. We've all kind of thought, Terminator 2 was just obviously only a movie, and lo and behold.
Well, here's my
Idiocracy was a movie at one time.
Yeah. We're
True.
living. It's got electrolytes. It's what the plants need.
It's what they crave.
Yeah. So here's my question, though. What kind of sick, demented asshole created an AI with the sole purpose of destroying the world? And, how did that not immediately get shut down?
So I think you can look at it from a defense strategy, right? So somebody out there is probably going to develop something like this. So how do we fight it? So to fight it, you have to create it.
So is that creating infectious diseases and then trying to come up with a vaccine?
And then you got to release it to see how effective it is, and then to see if your vaccine works. It doesn't.
Why does that sound like deja vu?
Yeah.
Probably because they've been doing it for hundreds of years.
Yeah. Didn't we see a movie about that just a little while ago with...
Talking about the one with Donald Sutherland? Or Kiefer... Yeah, Donald Sutherland and...
No, I'm talking
Cuba
about...
Gooding Jr.
I'm talking about...
Dustin Hoffman?
I'm talking about Tony Stark trying to create a shield of armor around the world that turned out really fucking bad.
Oh, see, I went back 20 years before.
Yeah.
Where they were doctors in the Army.
Well, I went closer, more relevant.
Kevin Spacey was in it. He had a seizure and lost about 1 billion brain cells.
What movie was that?
It was Outbreak, man.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Wasn't Morgan Freeman in that?
Yeah.
He was. You brought up Cuba.
He was in that.
He was. But what's the last movie he's been in? I think he's...
That's been relevant? I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I think he does a lot of B and C movies. They're independent. I've seen some stuff. I'm like, hey, it's Cuba.
I think he just got in trouble not too long ago for sexual assault or something.
He did, yeah. So
the last guy I would have thought, but then Bill Cosby. So
that is true.
Hey, man, you go around saying pudding pop for years. What do you expect?
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so anyway, back to what we were talking about of there's so many examples of how this is a bad fucking idea. And we keep doing the same dumb shit over and over again. Explain that to me, Mr. Technology guy.
I'll tell you what's hard is yes, I love tech. I mean, obviously, that's just my world. And I feel like we need tech to be able to advance. It does go hand in hand with a lot of, the safety issues that we kind of, we bring onto ourselves. But it's one of those things where I feel like there's a point where you just don't want to go too far. It's like you don't want to clone a human, right? Well, you don't want to really go too far into AI so fast, so rapidly, because the consequences could just be ridiculous.
I'm waiting for surrogates.
The Island.
Oh yeah,
No,
remember that movie?
I do remember. Yeah, I don't want to go that far.
You don't want to get the lottery ticket, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What I want surrogates, like with Bruce Willis. You don't remember that one?
Yeah,
Just
I remember
just to look
it,
beautiful.
All the time.
It's a robot.
Yeah,
You control a
24/7.
yeah.
Yeah.
You control a robot.
No fear.
Yeah. That's not.
Like, hey, I'm gonna jump off this building and see what that's like because I want to.
How about Ready Player One?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, or Free Guy.
Nah,
Yeah, but-
Free Guy was more of a video game.
True.
Yeah.
But like Ready Player One, that was pretty awesome. I love that movie.
So here's
'Cause
my
we're not
thing
gonna
with
take
that.
it.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Like the whole like Ready Player One, yes, I would love video games that are that immersive, but on the same tip of that leads you into things like surrogates where you never leave your house and you're plugged in all the time. How many people do you think would starve to death because they would just never unplug?
Oh man, in the beginning of the movie, the drone was delivering Pizza Hut.
But they wouldn't unplug to eat.
Yeah.
Think about how many people do you know?
I think there'd be some, but I think I still think people would unplug to eat. Like, hey, I'll be back in 10. Or you eat while you're playing. Your mouth is just. You're like, what the fuck you doing, man? Oh,
I'm talking about
eating.
surrogates.
Surrogates would be a little different. I think there would be people that wouldn't unplug. You'd have some, like to start, because there's no warning label yet. And then somebody would die, and their family would
course.
sue.
I mean,
Warning
there's people
labels
that died
were-
right
Yeah.
now.
And then
Yeah.
they'd put it in the
Just for
program
that.
to pop up, hey, you've been on for 8 hours. Maybe you should eat, dumbass, and take a shit.
Well, yeah, but if you're using your surrogate to, I don't know, like weld something, or you're fucking doing whatever, your job, because you don't leave, your surrogate goes and you control them to do all that.
Yeah.
So if you're in the middle of your workday,
You still get your lunch break pop up on your screen. Right in the middle.
It's like an alarm clock. You just
Yeah.
ignore it. Put it on snooze.
Because you know they'd have to do that because there are
people are
dumb
stupid.
people out there.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times you look at somebody and you cock your head to the side? Like, really? Just look at driving. How many dumb drivers are there?
Oh gosh, they're getting dumber
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
dumber
I had,
and more distracted.
oh man, I had
Being
this.
on their phones all the time. Like, and people who bitch about it and they do it.
I was sending an address to the person
Uh-huh.
who's coming next. So,
Okay.
okay. But yeah, like yesterday morning on the way home from the station, driving north, this car speeds up to get in front of me, gets like 1 or 2 car lengths ahead of me. There's no cars in front of them at all. No cars. Jams on their fucking brakes. And then I see them as I, narrowly avoid hitting them. I back off, go around, and as I'm going around, they're fucking doing it to other people
Oh, that's an insurance scam.
with temp tags that are like 2 years out of date.
Yeah, 100% insurance scam.
Yeah.
So now, like, certain states do have that law where if they hit you, like, from behind, it's your fault, right?
Yeah.
Quotation marks. That's not always true.
No, it's
Like,
not.
if you slam on your brakes on the highway or on a road and there's nobody in front of you and there's no reason, that's still your fault.
Yeah.
Don't think because they ran into you, because you can't go from 45 to 0, and even if I'm following at 2 seconds like I'm supposed to, I'm still not going to stop. The
Yeah.
reaction time is not there for people.
Yeah,
Even young people who have good hand-eye coordination and hand-foot and all that, it's still, you're still at like 0 or 0.83 reaction time before you take your foot off the gas.
Well,
Because you
how
got that
long would your
process
how
time.
long would
So
your
it's something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is.
how long would your reaction time be if it was your surrogate driving the car and you got the ping?
There you go. Yeah, there's a
What
delay.
happens if you're doing that and there's buffering?
We definitely need to upgrade our network.
Well, and even to add to that layer, so I mean, what about the self-driving cars now?
Oh, like the ones that ran into a fire truck?
Well, yeah, true.
Because it's still, its lights are on, it's moving. I mean,
but they will stop on a dime. I've actually tested that theory just once. I had to see.
I mean, they will. I mean, I think it's getting there. There's still a lot of work to do.
It's a lot of work, yeah. It's not perfect.
But, I mean, there's things that a computer can't account for.
Oh, gosh, no.
That's why we still have humans control things. But I have a feeling, like with what you're talking about with this AI, it's going to be there.
Eventually, man.
And then you're going to have a bunch of robots and their chest turns red. Like, for your safety, you're staying inside.
It would be cool to have some, like, bionic arms, though. You know what I mean? Just be able to lift whatever you needed to.
What was that guy's name in Mortal Kombat?
Oh, Jax.
Jax.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, indestructible.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need to lift weights no more. I can lift anything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of coming. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I know, like with Rhodey and Iron Man and the Avengers and stuff, when he couldn't walk, he had the legs that allowed him to.
Yeah.
They've kind of got some of that stuff.
Yeah, they do.
It's not on that level, of course, but
Well, I know
getting there.
It is.
I mean, look at prosthetic arms.
So the military
Like the ones that can
had
grab and stuff.
the military had their version of the Iron Man suit, like, and they were testing it. I remember reading an article about it probably 10 years ago. It's basically like a loader system that you wear as a suit, and it allows you to lift like 500 because it's all hydraulic. Now it's big and clunky, and but if you're sitting there, you're loading boxes onto a plane all day. It's doing 90% of the work for you, and it's allowing you to lift. I don't know, can't remember how much it would let you lift, but like way more than you should be able to.
Yeah,
like 300 to 500 pound boxes by yourself.
Yeah, something close to that. I think I remember.
I mean, how much technology has come out of TVs and movies? Star Trek.
Oh yeah. Well, when
They
science
had
fiction
handheld
becomes science
communicators.
fact.
Handheld communicators. You mean a cell phone?
Yeah.
Lieutenant Uhura, she wore a thing in her ear for a communicator. You mean a Bluetooth?
Yeah.
We all they had earbuds back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back then you didn't have any of that stuff.
Well, no, everything was still. So I remember talking to you about the whole Instagram meme that I saw about this girl talking about, we should have a phone in the house that's like got a cord on it that everybody in the house can use and blah, blah, blah. And the guy watching it reacting to it was like, she's talking about a landline.
Yeah, we circled back.
Talking about a home phone. She doesn't know what this is? Like, we had that. 15 years ago, we had that.
But how many kids have not, like, we make fun of other generations, right? You see the videos, they ask questions like, what is a rotary phone, or how do you use it? And they're like, they can't figure it out. But they've never seen it before, so it makes sense. Mm-hmm. You can't ask someone to send a fax who's never seen a fax machine or heard of one, because we've had email for how long?
Yeah.
20 plus years? 30 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Internet, we were all in high school. Well, we were in high school. I don't know about you. when the internet came out. I don't know how.
I'll be 41 in June.
Okay, so we're all the same age. Yeah.
We're all
he's older than I am.
Yeah.
I'll be 41 in July.
Yes, youngster. Yes, youngster.
There you go.
He just looks a lot younger than we do.
I still think I probably look younger than both of you. And I'm the oldest sitting at this table.
No.
42?
43.
43, okay.
Yeah.
When did you turn 43?
February.
Okay, so
yeah.
You're young 43.
Yeah, I'm newly minted.
But look at that. Like the stuff that we grew up with. We remember when the internet was in our homes.
Yeah. In its infancy, as we call it.
AOL. Dial-up.
AOL.
Yeah.
You better had two lines.
Welcome.
Yeah.
You've got mail.
You log on. All right, now I'm going to go cook dinner. I'm going to eat. I'm going to clean the kitchen. And then I'll be online.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's at your fingertips. You open your phone, you're automatically on the internet.
Yeah.
You remember when you used to get the disc in the mail? It'd be like 25 hours free of AOL or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or your cell phone. Hey, call me after 7. Or call me after 9.
Actually, it was 9 initially, yeah.
And
then eventually went to 7.
And then it was weekends.
And then you had like, what, mobile to mobile if it was like the same network
Yeah.
or whatever.
And it just kept getting better. But a lot of kids, like my son, doesn't remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's always had the internet.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't always have streaming because that's still fairly new. But how long until people are like, well, why can't I just have one thing that has all this? You mean cable? I remember when cable was a thing
Yeah.
when it first came out. We had MTV. I was like, this is awesome. And they played music, and that was it. It's 24-hour music videos.
It's starting out. You're right.
See, I never had cable until I was in college. And then we had satellite at home
Heaven forbid if it was breezy.
whenever I went to college. Not whenever I was growing up. They didn't get satellite at the house until after I left.
had 3 channels, click your TV over to 3, but kids don't remember that. And
One channel.
it's because you lived in southern Louisiana.
I lived in West Central Louisiana.
Whatever, church it up all you want, Dirt. We've been over this.
Yeah.
But, you switch over to 3 for your video games.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. Now it's HDMI 2.
Yeah, that was even before you had the red, white, and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
You had the basically the coax.
Yeah,
I think.
that you had to screw in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to put my Nintendo, okay, I got to unhook this, and I got to hook this back in.
Yep.
Put it on 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or you had then they had the little box that you could plug both in, and it had the changer. So TV, video games. I had that.
Yeah. I never had that.
I remember I got a phone in my room.
Yeah.
That was huge.
We always
I
had
didn't have that.
we always had time limits on our Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Like we couldn't play it on the big TV or on the regular TV because you'll burn the tube out
Yep.
if
Or
you
when
play
big-
too much.
When big screens were a thing, when they first came out,
They were the size of this fucking table.
yeah, and they were massive.
Yeah.
And they were heavy, and you look at it, and you're like, oh, I don't want to carry that.
Yeah.
And you'd call 4 or 5 people, and you'd manhandle it, and you'd get it in.
Yep.
Now look at it, you can carry a big screen by yourself,
Yeah. Yeah, you could.
depending on where the
Yeah.
handles are.
Yeah. That 75-inch out there, I carried it by myself
Yeah.
into the house, down the stairs, unboxed it, put it on the thing,
Yeah.
all by myself.
It's doable now. And now you look at those big TVs, you're like, I don't want to pick that up.
No. It's crazy though how tube TVs just like disappeared. I mean, we all knew it was coming.
Yeah,
But
but
they
it was
used to
almost
be-
overnight.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really was almost overnight.
Because the flat screen came out, and you still had a tube on it, and then it was like months later, it was thin.
Yeah.
And you're like, and the price was high, and then all of a sudden it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was affordable.
It went quick. Yeah.
Now look at it. You go buy a 42-inch, like, $200-$300.
Actually, you can buy a 50-inch from like Best Buy, I think for like $250 for like a 4K TV. I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong, it's budget and it's it's not going to be the best TV, but
No.
the fact that you can still buy
But it's still got a better picture than any of the TVs we grew up with.
Yes.
oh, by far,
Like, hands down.
hands down.
You ever go watch a show from the 90s now? Like, without it being revamped? Or, what's that called?
Digitally
Like
remastered.
Yeah, remastered.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. They're shit. You're like, man, this used to be great. I remember the first time I watched a football game in HD. It blew me away.
It's like we were there.
Yeah. I was like, this is awesome. And now, if I get one that's even a slightly shitty HD, I get pissy. First world problems, man.
Hey man, we're spoiled. Yeah, no, I'm a snob when it comes to TVs and monitors, screens. Yeah. I mean, growing up and stuff, yeah, we didn't know any better. And speaking of, you were talking about earlier, Jeremy, that just how like we're kind of predicting, like our own demise and stuff in some of these movies and stuff like that. Well, what about how many times The Simpsons predicted the future? I
Oh,
know
yeah.
I hate to
Yeah.
bring back kind of, back this old little topic we were on, but I was thinking about that earlier as we were talking. I was like, you know what? How many times did The Simpsons actually predict our future?
I mean, they got to
Yeah.
be, what, in the 30s with predictions?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite a few. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty staggering.
Yeah. The biggest one's the Donald Trump thing.
Yeah.
It was like, son of a bitch, they called
So
it.
I was listening to the end of a Cleared Hot episode earlier this morning whenever I was out doing errands and stuff before I got home. Nick Komalatzos was the guest, and he's a former Marine Raider. He's like, does a whole bunch of stuff, right? But he's talking about this new program that he's got about how he thinks that, inside every man there's a warrior, and that's part of the problem with our society now is because men have been, the toxic masculinity thing and all of that stuff. And he's like, and the example that he used was, look at The Simpsons. He goes, whenever The Simpsons came out, he goes, and it started way before that, don't get me wrong. He goes, but it was something that was instantly in the public consciousness with this cartoon of the bumbling idiot dad who was fat and out of shape and like just completely, trash, which, let's be honest, Homer Simpson is a trash dad and, husband and everything else. Like, he's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's got a crayon up his nose. It's not his fault.
So, but, I mean, he's not wrong. He goes, because look at what you saw after that coming forward of the depictions of men and fathers in, in most TV shows and stuff. It wasn't the strong, I don't want to say disciplinarian or whatever, but
it wasn't Andy Griffith.
Yeah, it was more of the bumbling, maybe soft-hearted, well-meaning, but just completely ineffective and unrespected. And how much of that plays into the problems that we're having now?
I can see a correlation.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Well, and how often are we, even as kids? So when you look at young kids, how do kids settle things?
They punch each other in the face most of the time.
It ain't words.
Or they used to.
I was going to say they used to.
Yeah.
And then they become friends later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a lot of friends that we punched each other in the face back in the day.
Yeah.
From childhood. But what's
like kids don't know how to get through adversity, in my opinion.
Well, you got to teach them.
You do have to teach them.
I mean, I'm not saying fighting is the end all be all. Like, use your words first, but don't be afraid to go there if you have to. And that's what we're not teaching people anymore.
Yeah.
And as you get older, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people I want to punch in the face throughout the day. But I don't because I can't afford to go to jail. I can't afford the consequences to it.
And Jordan Peterson has a great thing on that of being dangerous and knowing that you can be dangerous and that you are dangerous, but also not using it.
You got to know how to control it.
Yeah, knowing how to control it. Like if there's, and hopefully there's times you're never going to have to do that. You're never going to have to be a violent person. But it's that
you need
to have the capability to be violent, because guess what? Like just what we saw the other day I think it was in Washington State. This dude tried to burglarize this home. The homeowner was home. It was during the day. He called 911. Dude broke into the house. He was coming in, and the homeowner shot him and killed him.
As he should have.
And the cops didn't show up for another 10 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
as he should have.
In that 10 minutes, if he hadn't,
who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows what's going to happen?
And that's the thing. Go ahead.
No, you just have to be able to protect yourself. I mean, I think we all should be able to agree on that. I mean, it's
Well, there's certain things as a society we agree on. Not stealing each other's shit is one of them. Not breaking into their home is one of them.
Or trying to harm your family or you.
Or cause me harm in any way. If you do, there's consequences to it.
Yeah. But see, that's what...
And that might be 2 hot ones to the chest. Sorry.
So living in a society, that's the agreement that we all make of I'm not going to come fuck your shit up and you're not going to come fuck my shit up. But there's always going to be people that don't live by those rules in our society. So you have to be able and prepared and able to defend yourself and your family.
And willing.
Like,
I don't want to hurt anybody. But if you force me and my back's against the wall, okay, I might go down too. But I'm going to go down fighting. If somebody breaks into my house, as long as my wife or whoever else is there can get out and be safe, I'm willing to make that trade. That's what I signed up for. when we got married, when I had kids. I will lay my life down for yours. I don't want to die right now, but like Toby Keith said, if that's asked of me, so be it.
Yeah.
I'm going down swinging.
Yep. I'm going to do everything I can to prevent it.
And I might take one or two of you with me if multiple people break into the house. You fight to your last breath. I mean, that's your duty as a husband, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's the way I was raised. It's the way I raised my son. You guys run. I got this.
I think we all feel the same way. I mean, honestly, I think we all feel just the same way. I mean, yeah, come on, honestly. It's like we don't want to hurt nobody. Nobody wants to hurt most people don't want to hurt anyone. But at the end of the day, yeah, if you got kids, you got a family, a wife.
If I'm hurting you, you probably forced me. Chances are high you forced me into this.
Well, and
now it's a bear. I'm going to trip your ass.
The Forest Service says not to do that, even if you're not really that close of friends.
Right.
Which whoever is running their Instagram page now is a fucking genius.
I don't know about you, but I don't think any of us can outrun a bear.
I'm not going to try.
I can't outclimb a bear either.
No. After watching Cocaine Bear, I can't outclimb one. I can't outrun one. You can get lucky, maybe throw some cocaine in his face or something.
I did see the video where the guy kicked the bear in the nuts. You ever seen that one where the bear and him fight? It's a funny one. Like, it's over a fish, and the bear gives the old Rocky Balboa. It's a joke. And he kicks the bear in the nuts and takes the fish. The bear on the ground.
Probably not a real bear.
No, the whole thing was a spoof. It was just funny.
Yeah. So, but I also think that that's probably why the three of us sitting at this table went into the career field that we went into.
Well, we want to help.
Yeah, we want to help people. We want to be productive members of society. We want to stand in the breach.
Yeah, somebody's got to hold the line. That's why you see the cops doing what they do, military, fire, EMS, look at federal law enforcement, all of it. Somebody's got to hold the line.
Yeah.
Like you look at the movie A Few Good Men.
Mm-hmm.
You might not like Jack Nicklaus's character, but he's right. You ask me to do a job that's dirty, and then you want to criticize how I do it. It's not a great job. It's a hard job. You can't have that weak link. Now, should they have killed that kid? No. That's wrong.
Yeah.
But you can't transfer him out. You won't let me. But if I have that weak link in my chain, I know it's a drastic movie. Don't get me wrong. It's way out there.
An extreme example, but yeah. I get where you're going.
But the point is, I agree with.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to that whole conversation that we've had multiple times about.
I'm not advocating killing people, just so we know. We'll put that out there. A little disclaimer. I'm not.
Well, no, but that goes back to the having a standard.
Yeah.
And a standard of performance, and especially in jobs that are life safety. You have to have a standard. You have to uphold that standard. And when people either can't or won't meet that standard, you got to get rid of them. They need to be reassigned. They need to be moved. Put them in somewhere where they can do good, because not everybody's cut out to do certain things. But there is something that everyone can do. If they need to be if they would excel in an administrative role or something else. Find what they're good at. That goes back to being a leader and setting your people up for success.
Yeah.
But also that comes from, the top down.
It goes from the bottom up too.
And the bottom up. But
as far as
reassigning people though, that's the top down thing. And that's knowing, okay, this person has had this issue and this issue and this issue, and it's been this and this and this. Okay, he's not making it, or she is not making it in this position. What can we do to put them in a position where they can be successful?
What's the Navy SEAL fail rate in BUDS?
Like 80%.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
It's 70 to 80% washout every class.
There's a reason for
SF
that.
is the same way.
I mean, I just bring the BUDS up because they've got the class 234. It's on all the time.
Yeah.
When they filmed it, but I mean, it's there for a reason. You got to be a top performer.
Yeah.
And then hey, you didn't make this. That's okay. You're still in the Navy.
Yeah.
Or it's going to get you go back to your whatever job it is or where we need to put you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, you suck as a radar person. Let's move you somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly never understood why we don't do that. I mean, as a society, as a whole.
Yeah, if everybody succeeds, society's better. Yeah. If everybody fails, society fails.
Well, I think ultimately, this is my own personal opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I think it's because a lot of people aren't self-aware, and a lot of people, it's never their fault of why they have failed at something. And they're going to scream and cry about it. They're going to file lawsuits. No, you can't move me from this job. This is what I want to do, even though I'm the worst fucking trash collector ever. Then you're not moving me. And then politics comes into play and social justice and all of this stuff of, well, no, that's what they want to do. That's fine. They're just not capable of doing it. So they need to be moved. And they need to realize, hey, this isn't for the betterment of everybody else. This isn't benefiting anybody. I'm going to go and do something else.
Well, it comes back to everybody gets a trophy. You know all the trophies I had as growing up as a kid? It's because the teams I was on were good. I might not have been the best player, but you're still part of the team, and you still had to train.
Not a participation trophy.
No. I mean, I played. Don't get me wrong.
No, I'm not saying you directly. I'm saying as a
basically
whole.
everybody gets the same trophy. Whether you finish first in your league or dead last, you get the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm sorry, if you didn't place first through third.
Yeah, you don't get a trophy.
You don't get a trophy. Period. You don't see them handing out medals at the Olympics at fourth and fifth. Gold, silver, bronze. First, second, third.
Yep.
After that, do better.
Yep.
Go back to training.
Yeah.
I wanted the big trophy as a kid. I hated finishing second.
Yep.
Give me the big one.
I never wanted the sportsmanship award.
The sportsmanship.
Well, because that was basically you're on the last place team. You get the sportsmanship award. Yeah. That was our everybody gets a trophy type thing. Like first, second, and third so I'll go equate it to Summer League baseball. That's where I got most of my trophies at. But it was always first, second, or third. The team that was dead last always got the sportsmanship award because they tried, which is fine. That is what it is. Nobody else got a fucking trophy, though. If you weren't first, second, or third, and you didn't want the third place trophies like this fucking big, it's like an insult. You just throw that shit in the garbage. You're not even first loser. You're second loser.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the runner-up at Miss America. So what do? You get better at what you can. Like, oh, man, we finished second in baseball. So the coach can't coach us because that's against the rules, but we all live in the same neighborhood. And there's a baseball field right over there. So you want to play baseball somewhere with your friends.
Yep.
You play catch or, whatever it is you want to do to get better.
Hit ground balls. The pitcher pitches to everybody.
Football in the off season, you had workouts. Now, coaches can only be there for so many. So what did you do?
You did it as a team.
Yeah.
Everybody shows up. Or you had weightlifting as your PE.
Yeah.
And just so happened that the football coach was your weightlifting coach.
Yeah. We had PE. Everybody on the basketball team had PE 7th period. My whole high school. And
so that was perfect.
Yeah, but there were only like 15 people in your high school. That's not really fair.
Bro, there was way more than 15.
I'm sorry, there was 22. My fault.
21 in my graduating class. And I bet we had 100 kids in high school. Probably. 492 pre-K through 12 the year I graduated.
Oh, wow.
That's what we did. Like if you were an athlete in high school, we called it early bird. And so you showed up before school and you lifted weights or you ran or whatever it was we were going to do that day. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of times it was weightlifting and cardio. Some day it was all cardio. Some day it was weightlifting and stretching, or cardio and stretching. But you're always doing something. And then you got out an hour early. And that's so you could go home, change, eat a snack, and then you went to practice. And then if your sport wasn't in session after school, you had more weightlifting. Or whatever, if you lifted weights, then you would run. I mean, it just depended on what you'd done earlier in the day.
I remember that schedule.
So we would start.
It also kept you busy and kept you out of trouble.
It did.
Yeah. Well, see,
kept you in shape too.
Kept you in shape. Made you make sure your homework and your grades were up, because coaches were on you. They knew what your grades were.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dumbass, you're getting a D- in Spanish.
I know. I remember the first time I missed basketball because of grades, and it's a crummy feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Being on the sideline, having to watch your team,
and your whole team
you can't even play. You're just like
the peer pressure right there, because your whole team knows, hey man, you fucked us.
Yeah.
Get your grades up. What do you need? What class are you failing? How can we help?
Yep.
But it was more the team working for the team.
We started basketball end of July, because that's whenever we could start practicing. It was only like 3 times a week or some bullshit like that. But we would start games in September, October for high school.
You guys started early.
We started early. And so we would practice. Once school was in session, it was everyday practice. But it would be 7th period, would be like
your
weightlifting, whatever. And half the time it was like 30 minutes of weightlifting, and then it was the rest of the time we were running drills, and then we would practice until 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, depending on how bad we fucked up the night before.
Yeah, that's some good conditioning.
We had workouts so after school ended, we had summer workouts for football. So you could either go early in the morning, which was 7 a.m., or you went in the afternoon, which was 3, or you could do both. I did both a lot of times, because back then I was into working out, like I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I was also in shape, so it wasn't that hard.
Yeah,
it was easier. And then you had conditioning. You might have to run 3 miles, but it was 1 lap around the whole complex of the school. It wasn't too bad. It was at your own pace. There was no time limit. It was just getting it done. Or you'd run wind sprints or 10s and 5s, which sucked. But
wind sprints did.
I hated wind sprints, but the 10s and 5s were it seemed easy. 10-yard sprints, 5-yard sprints. But if you fuck up, you start over. So that's getting into 3-point stance, waiting for the snap, and getting there quickly. And the coaches determine when the snap was. So you might still be getting set, and they'll snap the ball just to make you start over.
Yeah.
So they sucked.
Our first day of basketball practice, the very first thing that we did every summer, we'd all load up in either the back of somebody's truck, or every now and then, I think one year they put us on a bus, drove us 3 miles away from the school, dropped us off, and basically said, you got 25 minutes. You don't make it back to the school, get in your car and go home. You're not on the team anymore.
Man.
Yeah.
We're trying to make you guys into men.
Yeah.
Hope we did your off-season cardio.
Yep. And that's exactly what it was. And I don't think we ever had anybody miss. I think everybody made it every year.
You know what, though? That's good coaching. I mean, because at the end of the day, I bet the whole group was super conditioned. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, dude,
yeah. You might get beat,
right?
But you're not going to get beat because of poor conditioning.
I think I played, for the most part, I played every minute of every game my junior and senior year, my senior year for sure, except for one that I fouled out with like a minute left in the game. And it was just
up and
going
down.
up
Up
and
and down.
Those sports were year round. We really looked at it. I mean, we had multiple football camps during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
You had one where you actually went to a college and you played other teams would come and you'd play for a week. But you had multiple practices, and then 2 a day started, and then school started, and it was, course practice every day. Thursday was your walkthrough, and even then you did cardio. You still ran drills, but it was time consuming, but it held the standard. That's all it was. And if you weren't,
it did make.
If you had a shit week in practice, you might sit.
Yeah.
If you didn't put the effort in. Oh, and then you had film in the morning every day before school.
Yeah, we never did any film stuff.
Well, football's more important.
See, I didn't play.
It's a tougher sport.
I didn't play football
Well,
in high school either.
I wouldn't say football is a tougher sport. I would say there's a lot more set pieces because that's how you're starting every play.
Yeah, you got to read. I mean, you do.
And
you
in
got,
basketball,
it is.
it's not the same thing.
Right.
No, I agree. And I agree.
Yeah, that's what
Like
I played.
you can watch film on basketball players and learn their tendencies.
Yeah.
And like we did, like I think our coaches watched because usually whenever we would have like a big game or something or play somebody that we hadn't really played in a while, our coaches would come up and they're like, okay, number 24, he's going to do this a lot. And he'd fucking do that a lot. And so they obviously scouted and watched film and all that stuff. It's just we weren't a part of that.
No, and I think,
So-
and, you know, when you go to college, it's more film, and because you still have tendencies,
Yeah.
and there's still a lot of set plays.
Yeah.
You know, and football is just a different animal when it comes to watching film, and your set plays and your formations and what they're going to run out of this and the tendencies there and how they're going to set their screen up and go down a rabbit hole. But that was part of it. Is you get together and you watch film and you eat breakfast, that kind of stuff. Provide your own breakfast, of course, but
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Back
I
then you
did
could eat
cross country.
McDonald's.
I ended up doing cross country instead of football. In the early part of the school year because that usually got everyone conditioned for basketball. But yeah, it's very similar though to like a degree of. I mean, you're constantly either running or you're constantly you're training. And I knew since I didn't play any sport really from track season all the way until basketball, I figured, all right, well, I'll just do cross country, and I was terrible at it. I'll be honest, because who really wanted to do cross country? I mean,
Yeah.
It was just one of those things.
Just go out and run 3 miles for no fucking
Yeah.
reason. Nobody's chasing you. There's not a ball in your hand. There's
The cool kids never ran cross country. Let's just be real. They played football, and so obviously. That was one of the things I was like, all right, well, I'll do this at least just to be conditioned, but
still, you said there was a standard there.
there was still a standard, yeah.
So and then in all those years of from when we were little to graduating high school, going on to whatever it is we were going to do, you had a standard everywhere you went, and you had the peer pressure from your team. You had a team mindset. It all led into what you do as an adult and keeping that standard wherever you go. You knew there was going to be a standard. How do I meet the standard? How do I exceed the standard?
So my question to you two is, what happened with us dropping standards? When did that go away? Like, when did it be okay to just not have any type of standard at all?
That's a good question.
So okay, look at your high schools. How big was your basketball team? How big was your basketball team in high school?
15.
15 people. And how many people were eligible to play on that team? 50?
Yeah, I'd say probably 50. 50 boys in the high school that could have played.
So you have 35 that aren't playing.
Yeah.
And they have an attitude about it.
Not really.
Some of them. Let's be honest. Some people were mad about it.
But
They might not have expressed.
maybe.
Maybe they didn't
Yeah.
express it, but they would say something,
Yeah.
make fun of the team or whatever. Like we never had cuts. Either high school for football, we didn't have cuts, but not everybody went out for it.
Yeah.
Not everybody liked
We
it
only
either.
cut my senior season.
So basketball always had cuts. Baseball had cuts. Wrestling usually had some cuts.
Yeah.
But those are the people that want to change the rules because they didn't make the standard. Well, they just did this, I'd be in. If they did that, I'd be in. So now you grow up, you go to college or whatever, and you start getting into politics. Because you're not going to a lot of people can't do the physical labor stuff. So you go in the other route, in business or administrative, and you start scaling back standards to make it more fair for everybody. And that's how you lower your standards across the board.
So then it just naturally bled over into everything else.
Pretty much.
I mean, honestly, I think, just think about how our parents was raised and stuff like that. I mean, there was a lot more structure back then.
Yeah.
I don't think we have as much structure in today,
No.
I mean, just with the generation that's coming up and stuff like that. I mean, yes, there's more of an opportunity because in a lot of ways, when we're talking about technology and stuff like that, yes, there is a lot of bad that it can and probably will create, but there's also a lot of good it's created with the internet and having access, for kids to be able to go to school online. But when you don't, I feel like teach a lot of the basic stuff, the practices, stuff that our parents or grandparents grew up and stuff like that, that we also even grew up, but we're kind of like the hybrids of the group if you think about it. I mean, we grew up with standard and structures, but we also have this new age, understanding and stuff like that. So we kind of can use both. Like, we don't mind getting dirty. We don't mind working hard. We don't mind doing the physical labor. Our generation doesn't. But we also don't mind sitting on a computer and, say watching YouTube or TikTok and stuff like that. But the generation now, that's all they want to do. We probably shielded a lot of our kids just growing up and stuff like that from like all the everyday world's problems. Like, we didn't hear about, what was going on in freaking just wherever. I mean, I don't care where it's at.
You remember watching the Gulf War on TV?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
But that was the first time we really saw it. You're like, whoa, we're invading a country and the bombs and what's really going on. And now look at it. It's in your face. Where we didn't have the influences, the bad. I agree, technology is good. But how bad? The bad is bad.
No.
You get everybody's opinion now on social media and they portray it as fact. So I saw one the other day on TikTok and the guy was like, all these lawyers, it was a video of he was talking about a guy who got pulled over for speeding, going 25 over. Cracked his window just a little bit, like people would say, just crack your window, that's all you got to do. And here's my information, I don't talk to cops. Okay, that is your right. But now you get a ticket for 25 over instead of getting that break for 8 over. Because the cop's going to be like, oh, he was cool, he's respectful. I have that discretion at my disposal where I can lower the speed for the ticket. So now you're going to take that ticket to a lawyer who told you not to talk to cops. And how much does it cost for them to get the ticket reduced from 25? Let's throw a number out there, $3,000. Now, if it was 8 miles over, it's only going to cost me $500. So because I listened to the lawyer, so they can make more money. So is that good advice or bad advice not to talk to cops? Now, I do agree, and then you say can and will be used against you. I agree with that. So be mindful of what you're saying, but don't be a dick about it.
Well, yeah, but also if you're going 25 over, you fucked up, and there are consequences for that.
And I agree with that too. Don't get me wrong.
If you're gonna, it's that whole do the crime, do the time.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you caught me, got me. I'm gonna pay my ticket. Write it for whatever,
If I get a ticket, I'm like, yeah, I probably did it. All my windows go down when I get pulled over. Why not make it a little bit easier?
Yeah.
They don't know who they're approaching. I don't know what cop I'm going to get. So if I go in angry, and it's an angry cop, well, now it's going to get even worse. Or if he was cool and calm, but I'm angry, now he's going to get angry, so I've made it worse. So if I can de-escalate from the start, why not?
Yeah.
I don't want to pay the ticket for going 20 over. Was I going 20 over? Yeah. Do I deserve that ticket? Yeah. Do I want that ticket? Fuck no. I don't want to pay that. I don't want my insurance rates to go up. I don't want to have to get a lawyer.
Yeah. I mean,
but the point he was making was sometimes your decisions and your actions are going to dictate what happens. And it usually is on a traffic stop. Now, if you do everything the quote unquote right way, could you still get that ticket for 25 over or 20 over? Absolutely.
Yep.
But that is what it is. You did it. That's the
consequences.
Yeah. But you have a higher likelihood of getting a lower ticket just by being polite. Just like in customer service roles. If you go in, you start yelling at people on the other side of the counter, how do you think that's going to go? Now, they can't use the words that go fuck yourself because they'll lose their job. Or they might not care, and they'll say it anyway. But you're not going to get what you wanted. But if you go in, you're polite and nice and respectful, people are more willing to help you.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that up to a certain point. And I'll explain why. I had the recent situation with the rooftop tent, right? So I called this company that's close by, and I ordered my rooftop tent, $3,700. I mean, it's not cheap. And they're like, okay, it'll be in this date. Set up an appointment to go down, have them put it on the Jeep. It's going to be great. The night before I'm supposed to go down, I get an email. Hey, we're going to have to reschedule. The tent didn't come in. Now, this is on a Sunday. I'm supposed to go down on Monday. So if it didn't come in, they knew the day before because they're not getting deliveries on Sunday. They're probably not getting deliveries on Saturday. So they knew in advance. Well, come to find out, what happened was the tent was never ordered. So I call whenever I got home from work, and I've ended up talking to the owner of the company. And he's like, hey, yeah, we had a problem. We had an employee who has since been terminated. She wasn't doing her job. It wasn't ordered. We've got it ordered. It will be in. So this is after I had talked to him previously, and he told me that it was stuck in shipping. So he'd already lied to me once, right? And then he tells me
they sent you through the runaround.
Yeah. So he had lied to me previously, and then he tells me, okay, we're going to make it right. We're going to fix it. Blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, when will it be in? He goes, it'll be in, like 2 weeks later or something like that. So I'm like, okay, at this point, this is like a month since I've ordered it, right? And I've got a trip coming up. So I'm waiting. I never get like shipping information, none of that stuff. So I'm waiting. It's supposed to be in. It's not in on this date. I call. For 2 days, I'm calling this company. They're not answering the phone. I'm emailing them. They're not answering the phone.
Responding. Wow.
I sent 3 emails and left 4 messages in about an hour and a half. They finally called me back. And this woman that called me back, super nice. She obviously had no idea what she was getting into working for this company. And I talked to her and I said, hey, look, I am not mad at you. I'm mad at the situation. I'm mad that the owner of the company lied to me twice. I said, I want my money back now. And I'll have to just order it through another company and deal with all of the other bullshit. And she's like, okay, well, she started trying to give me the runaround a little bit. And I had to get stern, not mean, but stern and say, hey, look, this is the deal. Now, this is grand theft. You have $3,700 of my money. You have not provided the product that I paid for. I said, I've looked on the Better Business Bureau reviews of your company. I'm not the only one you're doing this to. There's plenty of other people. I said, the difference between me and them is I will go to the sheriff's office and I'll bring sheriff's deputies with me. You'll have your money back tomorrow. And I got my money back the next day.
Got your money back the next day. Wow.
But again, you went through it the right way. This is in my opinion, the right way. You started calm. You talked to them. You were okay. You were willing to work with them. It's not your fault that it wasn't ordered. And if the fact that he lied, that's on him.
Yeah,
shouldn't have lied from the get go. I probably would have been like, nope. Now you lied to me. I'm not doing business with you. Give my money back.
Yeah.
But you were respectful to start. And then as it went on, okay, now the conversation changes, the demeanor changes. And you have to get stern because they forced your hand. But that's the right way to do it. You don't go in like I ordered this 2 weeks ago and you go in and you start yelling because there are shipping problems.
Yeah.
Even before COVID, there was shipping issues.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this, the company that I called, which was in Dallas or Fort Worth or whatever, the next closest company that I could potentially drive to, I called them and they're like, oh yeah, we'll call the tent manufacturer like today and we'll get it set up to ship out. I was like, okay, cool. And within like an hour, got an email from that company and the other company, and we're from the tent company and from the whatever distributor or whatever. Yeah. And both of them like shipping stuff, blah blah blah. I had that tent in less than a week.
Yeah,
because and the tent company, because I explained to, and it was 23-0 who I ordered the tent from, ultimately, because that's who manufactures it. but they're like the director of sales or marketing or whatever emailed me and was like, yeah, we've been getting complaints about this company. We're not doing business with them anymore.
Yeah,
And
that's the see, and again,
That's right.
going back to the right way to handle it.
Yeah.
Going in
Yeah,
and
I
so
agree with that.
yelling and screaming at the owner who's not going to do the right thing because they don't have the right standards, you're never going to win that.
Yeah.
So you get your money back, which however you got to do it. I mean, you start nice and then you go down the path. You don't go to 100 right away. You start at 1.
Yeah.
Take that first step, and then you talk to the distributor. Hey, I'm having problems with this person, or the company that how you did it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, after X amount of complaints, we're not doing business with them. Now, if you do a large volume of business, you're gonna have complaints. You're gonna have things that fucked up.
Yeah.
If you own it and you're honest about it, most people are like, hey, that's cool. Things happen. When you start lying and try and cover your ass or get people to run around, they're like, all right, fuck off. That's a problem.
Yep.
And it's going to hurt. Yeah. They're probably going to end up going out of business because of it. Because somebody doesn't have the standards they should. When you're doing business, I'm not a firm believer of the customer's always right. I hate that shit. But take care of your employees and do things the right way. Employees will take care of your customers, and they'll be taken care of the right way, and your business will flourish.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yep.
And you got to have standards for your employees, too. If you're not doing things the right way, you're gone. I'll find somebody else who will.
Goes both ways.
If I take care of you, you take care of me. It takes care of the business as a whole. The customers are taken care of and they're happy, and you've just made a lot more money. It's pretty simple. Like even when you look at economics, it all goes back to being very simple. It's supply and demand. I supply it, you demand it. The more I have, the less I charge. The more I buy, just like when you go to Costco or Sam's Club. Yeah, it seems like you're paying more for those 20 pieces of chicken breast, but you're really not. You're just paying for it up front, and it saves you in the long run.
Buying in bulk.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So I've got too much, and my supply is right, my demand is right, so here, everybody gets it at this price. Oh, well, my supply is low, my demand's high, so the price is going to go up. Take care of your employees, have standards, they'll take care of your customers, and you'll flourish.
This all goes back to just being polite and being kind. Yeah. I mean, customer service is in everything. It doesn't matter, obviously, really what career, if you think about it, because, I mean, even in our career as firefighters, I mean, customer service is a huge thing.
That's 90% of what we do.
It's 90% of what we do. So, yeah, I've learned that at an early age, and it's sad that I don't think that that's passed along. Maybe it's just because the parents didn't understand it themselves, so they can't pass it on to their kids. But yeah, it goes a long way. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just one of those things. I mean, it's like you said, you start at 1, you go up the steps and stuff like that. There is times you do have to be stern. And that sucks, Jeremy, that you had to go through that. I don't think I realized that, man. So yeah, I'm glad you got your money back. But that company, yeah, there's no way they can last. And the company that did actually make it right, yeah, that's how you build big, long-lasting, generational money. Generational.
I mean, think about it. You're going to order from them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely will.
And you're going to tell everyone about them. But you know what's funny? You'll probably tell more people about the negative of what happened.
And that is something that I actually had thought about. Because I was like, oh, I'll make a video on Instagram, and then I sat with it for a minute, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk about the company that did me right. I'm going to give them the airtime and the positive, feedback. Because if you spend all of your time, and it's something that we, as just people in general, do that. We spend a lot of time focusing on the negative, and I think that really, really has a big impact on our mental health. And focusing on the positive a little bit more, I think, would be beneficial. Overall.
You're right.
Like the company in Dallas, Fort Worth, I can't remember. It's all the same damn place, but that's CB Adventure Supply Company. And they've been open for like a year, 2 years, something like that. Not very long, but glowing recommendations from everybody. Nobody has a bad word to say about them. And I hope that continues because they do some cool stuff. They sell great brands and they have good relationships with the brands that they sell. So they get you stuff quick and, it seems like it's a really great company. And that's what I want to kind of focus on more is the positive aspect of it. Now, could I have made a fucking slam video about the shit bags that I was working with earlier? Yeah, sure, I could, but what is that really? I mean, ultimately, here's the thing. If you're going to order stuff online, which we all know is hit and miss.
Sure.
It is. I mean, I could tell you stories about shit we've ordered from Amazon that would just blow your fucking mind. But if you spend all your time thinking about the negative stuff, it's not going to be helpful. Like I'll give you one Amazon story. My wife wanted to get this long lead rope for Gemma so she could let her out in the mornings whenever it was cold, just let her out upstairs instead of having to go outside. And so she wouldn't have to walk down the stairs because she's old. So she orders this long lead off of Amazon. So it comes in this package. We open up the package. It literally is like this long ass rope. Like obviously it was nice at one time, but it looked like somebody just went out into their front yard, picked up the pieces of the rope, tied it together with the leaves and shit still in it, and fucking sent it to us.
Oh, wow.
It was like $40 for this thing, right? So
Probably,
my wife,
probably one of those
screwed you on
companies
that
that
one.
sells, but they also sell on Amazon.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Party.
Right.
So she
That's
had
exactly what it was.
had to contact Amazon. She got her money back and all that stuff, and we sent it back. But it's like it's garbage. Like it's literally a chewed up. Like obviously had been used.
When you got to do your due diligence when you order from Amazon because they are a third party and they'll sell other people's stuff.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with. Just you got to look at it and kind of take
Well,
that time and do your
that
homework
was-
a little
Do your
bit.
homework.
That
Yeah.
was kind of my point of you have to, if you're going to order something, like especially like any type of automotive stuff, you've got to really do your research on the companies that you're ordering from.
Mm-hmm. I order stuff like that from Amazon. Like, well, that's on me.
Yep.
I didn't look at it close enough.
Yeah. No, I think we've all had that. Yeah, I've had my fair share of stuff. And yes, homework is a necessity. Yeah, I mean, without that homework, I mean, you're basically just giving money to somebody overseas. I mean, and eBay is the worst. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
eBay is the absolute worst. When did eBay get so bad? Like when?
I think it just grew too fast, too quickly.
Dude, it's terrible. I mean,
When you have scammers on there.
Well, as a
Never.
seller, buyer,
Yeah.
it's a iffy. As a seller, absolute garbage. I would never ever put anything on eBay. Their seller fees are ridiculous, and they cannot seem to like regulate anybody who just wants to make any kind of an account. They can even make that account appear like it's been
On there for forever.
on there forever. Yeah. So say people are buying and bidding and stuff like that, your product. Well, every single time they do that, yes, you don't have to ship out the product because you do need to receive the money, but you get scammers. They're always constantly bidding and buying your stuff. So let's just say the normal average Joe actually who really wanted to buy it, well, they'll bid it so high and then it makes the seller happy because like, oh yeah, I got this amount of price. You'll never get the money because the person was just a scammer. So the person who could have actually bought it potentially for maybe a little bit less of a price, they're always outbid. So it screws both people. It screws the seller and actually screws the buyer. And then eBay just allows it, and it just drives me nuts.
That's failure on eBay.
Yeah, and they'll
If that's the
fail
way it's
because
going,
of that.
so. I mean, how many things does Amazon sell in a day?
Oh, dude.
So now when you look at how much they sell to the issues, I mean, it's a small percentage.
Yeah.
When you're that big, you're going to have issues, period. I mean, no company's perfect, but still having that standard allows you to be almost perfect.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Like the company you order from in Dallas, they're going to run into issues because you can't make everybody happy. There's
Yeah.
no way in the world to do that.
No.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get pissed off about something, and they're going to blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have negative reviews. But like when you read reviews online, you have to really think about it.
Yeah.
Because there's so much like, okay, well, one, I'm getting only your side. Even your story, no offense, we're only getting your side.
Yeah. Well, I did a lot more investigating and talked to other people I know in the off-road community, and that's whenever I
had issues too. And
yeah. Well, that company apparently was supposed to be providing a rooftop tent for a police nonprofit, and fucked them on the rooftop tent. Never provided it.
Wow.
I mean, and I'm not doubting you.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but there's still.
Yeah.
You got to have a level of doubt when you read bad reviews, especially online.
The sense that I got was if you actually go into the brick and mortar store, you get treated pretty decent. But if you order anything online, you're fucked. And you have to do a ton of business with them to get for them to
they're
like
looking
just
for high
treat
volume.
Yeah.
See, that it just doesn't make sense at all. Like, what kind of business practice is that? Like, at the end of the day, like, why? I mean, potentially, and I don't know this company, so I'm only just going off a hunch, but potentially you would have more exposure to more customers online
Yes.
than your brick and mortar store. So then why would you screw the person that's doing it online? I mean, I get it if they just don't care, but.
So a lot of those companies that I've had issues and dealings with, especially like off-road and Jeep stuff and that kind of stuff, a lot of them don't keep the product in their store.
Okay.
Like even the big ones like Extreme Terrain and Quadratech, a lot of that stuff is going to ship directly from the manufacturer. So the biggest issue that I've run in with those two companies is they will advertise something, and for a long time it looked like it was shipping from their warehouse. It wasn't. It's shipping from the manufacturer.
Oh, wow.
So it would have something like in stock that wasn't in stock, and you didn't know that until you'd ordered it. It didn't show up. You called them, and then they're like, oh, well, this is actually ships from there, so we'll have to call them, and blah, blah. And it was this song and dance, and it happened to me like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, I'm not ordering from you anymore.
Yeah, that's just bad business.
I said, you need to put this stuff on your website that it ships from a third party. Like,
let people know.
Yeah. And then like there was some stuff that I'd like needed for the Jeep, and I would look at it and look different sites or whatever, and then I would just call. I'd be like, hey, do you have this? Is it in your warehouse? Yes, it is. Okay, I want to order it. Well, you can order it online. No, I'm going to order it from you on the phone. I've talked to a real person, and then I never had any issues with that. So I don't know. I did not think this podcast was going to go this direction. We've covered a lot of ground.
I think
we did.
It's all about standards. That's what everything comes back to, is having higher standards than what you think you need.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to. I mean, you can still fail, but the likelihood of you failing is less.
Well, and I think the ability or the sense of responsibility to try to make things right, and not necessarily right, but at least follow up on what you said.
Yeah.
You know, back up your product, back up what you did. And you mentioned the customer service with the fire department. It's the same thing of, is it fucking irritating that we go pick up the same fucking person on every Friday night that we work? We help them down to their car, and then at 2:00 in the morning, we're helping them back in their apartment. Is it irritating? Yes.
Yes.
But that's part of customer service.
That is part of it.
It's part of what we do, whether we like it or not. Because guess what? They don't have anybody else to call.
No.
And we allow it.
But there are resources. You have to be willing to go down that road with them in the right way.
Yeah.
Because you had to approach it the right way, or else you're just going to stay in the same loop you're in.
Yeah.
That's all. But to me, that's part of customer service.
Yeah.
So if you can talk to this person and tell them about the resources and get them to use the resources that are available, now that takes that off your plate.
Yeah.
And you're available for other customer service, quote unquote, calls.
Yeah.
Because you're still needed elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's still, you're still doing customer service and what's best for that person.
Yeah.
And the best for your community that you're serving. But I know, and sometimes at 2 a.m, it's really hard to be polite and respectful. It really is. Yeah. Especially when you've only been asleep for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because how many times has it actually been? Oh, sorry, like a serious call. How many times has it been serious? Especially when it's the same person.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. Yes, there is serious calls, and I'm not saying to never take those, without having the same polite approach. But you're right. We signed up for this. We know this. This is a part of being keeping a standard.
Yeah.
And making sure that we're all on the same page. It doesn't happen, and there's a lot of industries where I think it's always like there's just probably a smaller percentage that actually makes up the bigger percentage, and as far as keeping the standard.
Yeah.
I feel like, because that's just my argument about the younger generation, and I hate to keep bringing it up like that, but I think it's true.
But it's our job to teach them.
Yeah, it is.
Enforce the standard.
It is to pass it down.
Yeah, and that's something that we've touched on in the past of because we've sat here and we've gotten into that mindset at times of bitching about the younger generation and how they don't do things the way we did and this and that and the other thing, which is there's some value to that and there's some truth to that. But also the thing that gets overlooked that we've kind of started more to talk about is you can't hate on them if they don't know. Like, there's that knowledge gap, and whose responsibility is it to train them? Well, it's ours as the older people on the department. It's our responsibility to train them up and bring them up to the standard. So we have to take a little bit of that responsibility on ourselves, and knowing that, yes, they weren't raised the same way that we were. And we might have to attack this problem from a different angle than one that we really are comfortable using. Or, we're going to have to figure it out, because eventually all of us are going to retire. And if we haven't passed on the knowledge that we've learned, what have we really done?
Well, that's okay. AI would just put fires out.
That's coming.
No, but no, you're right though. Honestly, and I mean, you're right. I think we all need to do a better job. It's just as far as passing it down. I think that a lot of the problems too that I think I see and kind of go through is the fact that, whenever we came on, and I know you guys obviously got more time on than me, but obviously it was it was the same standard. But when we came on, our mindset was more driven. We had more of a driven mindset to want to learn, to want to ask those questions.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point that yes, they weren't raised the same. So since they weren't raised the same, they wouldn't have kind of that mindset to be driven enough to ask those qualifying questions of how to do this or not being afraid. It's more like the entitlement coming in like, oh, I finally got on a job and now I get to do, all this stuff and hang out and chill. Yeah, that's the great part about it, but there's a bigger portion that they're missing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's almost ass backwards, if you ask me. It's like, wait, hold up here.
Yeah.
You should be having 20 years in. But no, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, and the thing is, though, the thing that needs to be recognized and talked about is, I think whenever all of us came on, we saw this as a career. Like, this is what we want to do for the rest of our lives. No, yeah, we've had side jobs and done this and done that and whatever. That mindset just isn't really there from a lot of the younger generation. It's something that they're going to come do for 4 or 5 years, and then they're going to move on to something else. Which I'm not saying that's a bad thing or that it's wrong or whatever. If that works for them, it works for them, whatever. My worry is, what is that doing to the capability of the job? Because that hasn't changed. What we have to do hasn't changed. We still have to put out fires. We still have to do EMS. We still have to cut people out of cars. We still have to do high-rise stuff. Like, all of those job duties have not changed. We still have to clean the station, So where's the trade-off there? We have to have that standard. It still has to be enforced. Even if they don't see it as a career or whatever, we got to figure out a way to say, okay, that's fine. You might leave in 5 years, but while you're here, this is what we expect.
So I have a question. Do you guys feel like that's happening kind of as a whole, as far as throughout our entire nation through the fire department, or
Oh,
is
absolutely.
that something that you think is just localized to just Kansas City?
I think it's nationwide. From as many of the other people that I talk to in different departments, I think it's every department has obviously their own specific problems and all of that stuff. But I think with the people that I talk to, they keep talking about that thing of the newer guys coming in, or the newer people that come into the department, into the career field, are just, and I'm not even going to say most of them, but a lot of them, enough that you notice, they're just not, like you said, as driven. They're not as driven to learn the job and all that it entails. They're not as committed, and I'm not saying like whenever we came on, there was a lot of stuff that you were expected to do as far as being committed to. You're a firefighter first and everything else is second, and whenever it's station day to go out and get fucking hammered, you better fucking be there. Right. And you better do this and you got to do this on your off time and blah, blah, blah. Now, some of that stuff I think is bullshit. And I'm glad a lot of it has went away. But I think part of what also went away with that is, there's not that pride in the job. Like, it is just a job, which we've talked about that too, of how it's a job. It's a career. Ben, you are so much more than this. You're a husband, a father, a son, a daughter, a mother, whatever. It's not your whole identity, and you can't get too wrapped up in it. But at the same time, you have to take pride in your work. Like, we had a situation the other day that really just kind of highlights this. We got a crew that's kind of working on their station, trying to make it a little nicer, cleaning it up, painting the walls, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the captain's out there painting the wall, or prepping the wall to paint, and this brand new firefighter comes out. He's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm prepping the wall to paint and all this stuff." He goes, "You want to grab a brush?" And the new firefighter's response was, "Is it written that I have to do that?" And he turns around and walks back in the kitchen.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. That would never flew.
Yeah.
That would have never flew back
I
in the
mean,
day.
can you imagine telling our old captain that? Walking in on him whenever we were repainting the kitchen at that old station and saying that? What would he have done?
I don't even want to speculate.
But I mean, it's that kind of thing where it's like, again, like you said, it goes back to standards. You can't
paint a whole generation by the responses of a few. Too.
Exactly.
So it's definitely person dependent.
Yeah, but it's enough that everybody notices. Ned, that's not to say that we don't have some fucking all-stars that have come in recently.
Oh, absolutely. No,
I mean,
agree with
I
that.
can think of 3 or 4 of them right off the top of my head that's like, that person is fucking jam up and they're about it.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because at the same time, I don't want to seem like I'm completely slamming, because you're right. There's some actually pretty jam up, badass dudes, just firefighters in general, that I feel like are really made for this.
I think you see the people you're talking about is the minority. They're the exception to the rule. But you see it the most and you hear it the most because it's negative, and they're the loudest about stuff. Because it's the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And
also, I was thinking about this the other day. I think it's more prevalent or more visible now because everybody nationwide is so short-staffed that this stands out more.
It does. But
and then that's not to say that we don't have people from our generation that were total shitbags, that were lazy as fuck. I mean, you're just going to have
and
that.
The generation before and before, it's always there.
Yeah, it's always going to be there. It just seems like it stands out more now because of the staffing issues.
Yeah, that's part of it. But I also think you can do things right 100 or 99 times out of 100. You can do things right 99 times out of 100, but everybody remembers the one where you fucked up.
That goes back to how we focus on the negative. Yeah. That's the tendency.
So that's what we see. You see somebody do something bad, and now all of a sudden that person's a shitbag. That person's this. That person's that. You show up, at 6:55 once. You're a piece of shit. You're a whistle splitter. Never mind the 5 years I was here at, 5:45. But the one time is what you remember.
Yeah.
So I do have a problem with that too.
It does go back to the, the whole focusing just strictly on the negative. I don't know. I think that I don't honestly know what I think as far as, kind of what the future is as far as the fire department world as a whole. And I'm talking about like for the nation. I do believe that, yes, there is a massive shortage, and that's something that's never, been heard of. I mean, we've never had a shortage.
Well, you've had generations of high school pushing college. Get a white collar job. Get an office job. You don't want a blue collar job. That's what you've heard for years and years and years. And now we don't have those people that are going to do the blue collar jobs, be the welders, the mechanics, the plumbers. Plumbing sucks. I fucking hate it. But it needs to be done. Electrical work. HVAC.
All of the trades.
Yeah. We're a trade. We're a professional trade. Because you got to have the knowledge and the education and the research to do what we do. And they work on that, and there's people that do that, and they're great, and they put it out for us, and we learn, but we're still a trade. We're still hands-on.
Yeah.
We get dirty. And there's people that don't want to do that because of what's been preached. And now you have a market saturated with bachelor's degrees. Well, good for you. They're a dime a dozen now. That's not what we need. We don't need more computer programmers. I mean, we do, but not at the same rate we need the trade jobs. The police officers, the firefighters, the military, welders, mechanics. The list goes on. You got to have somewhere to live. Your house needs to get fixed. Do you know how to do it? You better call somebody who does. Oh, well, there's only like 4 people in the city now. That's the path we're on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why it all goes back to the whole tech stuff. I mean, that's why we're trying to keep pushing tech so we can keep pushing, like you said, just imagine if all of a sudden we have smart houses that they can repair themselves. Yeah, that's super far-fetched, and we're talking way in the future, but would it really be too hard to think that maybe in like 50 years
you're
sorry. Would it be really hard to think like maybe in like the next 50 years there could be something because there's too many people that just decide they don't want to do the blue collar jobs anymore.
I mean, look, cars are a perfect example. When you look at cars from the 70s, they didn't have all the dashboard lights to tell you to look at something or your oil needed to be changed. You just
the dummy lights?
The dummy lights, yeah. You had to know, like, oh, that sounds new. That sounds like it might be this. And they investigated. Now you don't get that. You get, oh, check your engine. What the fuck does that mean? Or that could just be an O2 sensor because you didn't get your gas cap on tight enough.
Could be, yeah.
Something that simple. Where smart cars are great, but they're also a hindrance.
They're very much so, yeah.
Or, hey, I'm not going to run anymore because I have a diesel and it needs to clean itself out now. So, hey, guess what you get to do on the highway? You get to limp down at 5 miles an hour. It's going to take me 30 minutes to, you know what I mean? So, technology is great, but it's also a hindrance. If it's used the right way, it's fine. But when we put all these safety shit in here, is it really safer? Is it?
Some things yes, some things no.
That's where I was at.
That's the point.
That's it. Yeah.
Not all of it's great.
Yeah. Now, that would be awesome if we had a house that could fix itself.
Yeah. Like, hey, I'm changing out my shower. Go ahead and knock that out for me.
Yeah.
Because it took me all fucking day to do it.
Yeah. Oh, we need some extra plugins in this room. Go ahead and make that happen.
Man, I would love to have some recessed lighting and some mood lighting,
Yeah.
You know what? It's time for a fireplace.
Yeah.
Oh, it's summertime. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great. But
yeah, wouldn't it be cool if we all had like just a massive 3D printer room?
Yeah.
Just a whole room that was a 3D printer in your house. You could just decide, you know what? I want a new vanity today. I want a new deck. You just create your own stuff right there and just move it out. But yeah, that would be like 50 years from now type
Then your
stuff.
robot looks like Robin Williams comes out.
Bicentennial man.
Yeah. Or like on Star Trek or Star Wars with the food synthesizers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, I want a steak today. And a steak
that would
comes
be
out.
amazing. Yeah, perfect.
It better be
Perfect
cooked right.
temperature.
Yeah.
Burn my steak. I'll be pissed. Hammer's coming out now.
Oh, I would learn computer programming just to fuck with your food.
Or better yet, like the Matrix, you know? It's like, you know what? I want to be able to learn Kung Fu. I want to be a freaking first-degree black belt in it and just, do it.
Yeah, you're talking about some cyborg shit now.
That'd be awesome.
True, but that still would be
Man,
awesome.
he wants cybernetic arms. Come on.
Yeah, man.
That's true. I have to, I think all that stuff would be like super cool to be able to do that and all of that stuff, but it worries me about somebody hacking in and fucking my shit up.
People are already hacking homes now.
Yeah.
No matter what you do as far as computer wise, it's still going to be hackable.
Yeah.
You have all the firewalls and protections and antivirus and go down the list of shit I don't know. There's always somebody who can hack it.
Inevitable. Yeah, always.
There's always somebody bigger and stronger. There's always somebody smarter. Always.
Yeah, it's just like it kind of just builds on each other each time. I mean, you will always have the white hat hackers, which are like the good hackers. That's the ones that they are there to protect. And then you'll have the ones that are there for malicious intent. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're always one up in each other. It's good cop bad, not good cop bad cop, but it's like the robber and the cop. I mean, it's cops and robbers, whatever.
It's the wolf and the sheepdog.
Yeah, it's always just.
That's why the government's always hiring hackers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, you can go to prison for what's that, 70 years, or you can come work for us. Your call.
Yeah, and then they end up doing worse shit than they were doing on their own.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's not my department.
No.
You could be like the human hack. I call him that. The guy on the Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever watched that
You
movie.
never seen that movie?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay.
I went through a period of time where I just really didn't like Leonardo DiCaprio very much.
You and everybody else.
So I didn't watch any movie that he was in. I think Romeo and Juliet did it for me. I hated that movie so bad.
Yeah, movie was terrible.
Yeah, movie
That
was
I
almost
was just
30 years ago.
Yes.
Close
Actually,
to
it was, yeah. Because I was doing a play. I was doing the Romeo and Juliet play at the same time that movie came out. And
you look nothing like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Anyway, whatever. I'll take that as a compliment.
Take it how you want. I mean,
But it was so
I've seen the girls he's dated.
it's so different than he's also rich. So
That's why.
Good point.
That's
Yeah.
why. It's not how good looking he is.
rich and famous.
He's got a yacht. Do you have a yacht?
I don't have
Then
a
shut
yacht.
up.
Yeah, I didn't.
So you were
care for it.
doing the play.
Yeah, I was doing the play, and that movie came out, so we all went and watched it, and it was just so different from the source material, and just so.
No, they were updating it though.
I know they modernized it, but it was.
I did like the
I
PPs
just-
in it.
I just didn't like it.
Yeah, I wasn't.
So,
I never
I-
liked Claire Danes.
There's something. Maybe I'm a traditionalist. Like, I think that there are some things that you just shouldn't try to modernize. You know what I mean? Like, there's some things that were perfect the way they were made originally, and just stick with that. Like, and I feel that way about like some like songs and stuff like that people will cover, and then it's totally different from the original that was a perfect song.
Yeah, I could see
But then they cover it and they have to put their own spin on it, or they just do it the same way that it was done. I'm like, why? Don't do that. The one exception is Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton.
There's always an exception to the rule.
There's always an
Always
exception
an
to the
exception.
rule. His version of that song is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate when they remake movies.
Seem like they do it often these days.
They're out of
Well,
ideas.
Well, there's only so many. What is it? there's only like 11 or 12 plots that get used in movies.
Yeah. I'm okay with
And
using
they
the
just
same kind of plot. But when
Yeah.
you actually take a movie and you remake that movie,
Oh, you mean like Top Gun Maverick?
that's a sequel. Doesn't count.
That is
No.
a sequel.
It's a fucking remake of Star Wars: A New Hope.
Everything's a remake of Star Wars anymore.
It's the exact same plot.
So what?
You fly your
You're on Earth.
airplane
It's
through this
different.
canyon, and you got to shoot it into this bunker, and that's what destroys the whole facility.
There's no
That
G
sounds
forces
like Independence
in space.
Day.
Yeah. There's no G forces in space. So it's different.
It's not different.
It's different.
It's the same fucking
And they're not
thing.
using lasers, they're using missiles. Completely different.
Whatever. It's a travesty that we waited close to 40 fucking years for that sequel, and that's all they could come up with.
I liked
And then
it.
held it for 2 years.
Yeah, I wasn't
after
happy
they
about
made
that. But I liked it.
I didn't like it. Didn't care for it at all.
I still haven't seen it yet.
You're not missing anything.
He's the exception to the rule.
I mean, it's got amazing reviews, but yeah,
I know it does.
I just haven't seen it yet.
I watched it. We went to the theater and watched it because my wife wanted to watch it. She loved it. I was just sitting there the whole time, and I'm like, I feel like I've seen this movie before. I have seen this movie before.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But no, you're right though. They do remake a lot of movies just fresh out of ideas or what, but they really do.
Let's see here. Remade movies. Oh, it's TV. Hang on.
Every time he starts to look something up on his phone, it takes him forever, and there's just dead silence while he's sitting there, and we're all just staring at him,
did you
fucking
know-
with his phone.
So in '94, they made Angels in the Outfield.
Uh
I didn't know that was a remake from 1951.
huh.
Same name.
Yeah,
Didn't
But
know
at
that.
least they waited forever and a day for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like they waited,
45 fucking years.
Yeah.
They made.
Okay, like
Yeah.
the live action movies they're making from Disney.
Yeah, the new Little Mermaid.
Like that. I mean, I saw the Aladdin one or parts of it. I was like, nope.
It was actually a pretty good one, but it
Couldn't
just
do it.
depends on how
It
you looked at
just
it.
missed. It just missed. It was good, but it was just a little off, and I don't know if it was the CGI wasn't quite as good or like what it was, but it just wasn't. And we've talked about that with the whole like the DC movies. Like
Yeah.
by and large, it's not that they don't have good plots and good stories. They do, but it's almost like they're just like they start off and they're going in a great direction, and then somewhere along the way of the movie, they just kind of like they just miss.
Yeah.
Like the CGI isn't quite good enough. The dialogue doesn't quite work out right.
And it could be the actors. It could be the wrong person, or wrong part. Here, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
I didn't like the remake.
The Mark Wahlberg one?
Yep, didn't like it. I like Mark Wahlberg, but sorry,
So you like the
I
original?
like the original with Charlton Heston.
Yeah.
So, and you also got to remember that was early in Mark Wahlberg's career.
Yeah, like I said, it's nothing against Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I think it was the movie itself. Carrie.
I
They
never
remade
watched-
Carrie.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I
remember-
I haven't seen
It
the
was that
remake.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
Moretz. Yeah.
I like her as an actress. Didn't like the movie. Not a huge Sissy Spacek fan either, but that movie was great.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never seen either
Well,
one of them.
I like the original.
I like the
yeah,
original
I've never
better.
seen the newest one.
Yeah.
Robin Hoods. There've been
What?
so many different remakes of Robin Hood.
Are you talking about the latest one?
Like the last one with
Russell Crowe.
no,
No.
that one was eh.
Oh, you're talking about the one with
Taron
Taron Egerton.
Egerton, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't great.
No,
For me,
it wasn't.
I'm sorry, Kevin Costner is my Robin Hood. Now that could be some nostalgia there too.
Yeah.
It could be some of that.
Well, and they had Morgan Freeman in that one too.
Yes.
So he makes every movie better that he's in.
Now I did like the new Karate Kid
With
with Jackie Chan.
And Jaden.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I didn't see that.
didn't care for him as an actor. Jackie Chan was good,
Yeah.
but still,
But it
I
was a-
still like the original Karate Kid.
it was a different story.
It was.
And I liked it that it was
I
it
did-
was the same story, but it was different.
But they
and
put it in a different setting.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard would it be for anybody to move from here to China or Japan or any other country different language, different customs, different everything.
Yeah.
And now you got to try and fit in. And like if you move to an Asian country and you're coming from here, you're obviously different. I don't care who you are. That'd be tough.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's one of those things where they're remaking everything, and I'm not a huge fan of it.
No, they are. They've remade Godzilla, it seems like, several times. I mean, they made
every 10 years they've come out with a new Godzilla.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know if that's considered a sequels or continuation, but the problem is
it always seems like it's a reboot.
It's a reboot.
But it will always be called Godzilla, and then like so many years later, it's called Godzilla. It's not like it's Godzilla 2 or 3 or, the Wrath of Dragons or Lizards or whatever the heck he is, or, it's just Godzilla. So
and he always looks different. It's never
the
same.
A little bit,
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
The Jurassic Park movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, it's old.
Oh, well. It's just to me, it's just a bunch of rerunning of the same stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, there's a lot of action. There's a lot of, running around and, dinosaurs. And it's like the same. They try to rehash the same signature stuff, but they just throw it in there. It's not like it's natural.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I mean, you seen like the drinks or whatever. They're sitting in the Jeep or whatever, and you got the cup. And you see, or the glass, and you see the T-Rex every time. You see the little trembles in the water. Now they try to do that, and I think I'd seen that in the first newest Jurassic Park one that came out. But it's like it just felt like it was thrown in there. It didn't feel like it was actually.
They're trying to tip their hat to the original.
Yeah,
you're like,
tip their hat to the original.
But see, in the original, that was foreshadowing because you didn't know what was coming.
True, you didn't.
But now you watch that movie, and it's like, okay, well, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's a waste to do that.
The T-Rex always wins.
T-Rex always wins.
Even on all their new genetically made dinosaurs, the T-Rex wins.
The T-Rex still won.
Mother Nature's like, you can't beat me.
Yeah. Well, Mother Nature's pretty much undefeated.
Pretty much.
Right.
I did
like Father Time.
I did like that Jimmy Buffett was in the movie carrying his margaritas. So in the first Jurassic World, when the pterodactyl-looking things came in with the T-Rex head, you see a guy grab 2 margaritas and run away.
Uh-huh.
That was Jimmy Buffett.
I did not pick up on that.
I didn't either.
I didn't pick up on that either.
I read it online. I was like, what? So, okay. Sure fuck was.
Oh, man. So what is next for your YouTube page, bro?
Oh, gosh, bro. I know, man. I would just tell you I'm slacking, but no, it's more than that. I mean, a lot of it is, too, it's like when you're like a one-stop shop or a one-man army and you're trying to figure out how to get everything, put together and stuff like that, it gets a little tough.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people probably have went through that. I know you've probably went through that quite a bit as well. But I think for me, my problem is I get caught up in so many new projects.
Yeah.
It's really hard to focus sometimes on just getting out. So I'll start, say, like a review as a good example. And I'll have a review kind of halfway put together. I'll put a video out. I'll even basically finish it, even if it's something like I'm doing just like a breakdown of a laptop. My problem that I haven't put together is just the editing part of the video and actually going through, figuring out what can I do with this. Because I've learned and realized, sometimes it's better to just do a video or at least put something together like a review, but then go back and try to do a voiceover. Trying to do it all in once, you don't know sometimes. You either you're going to sound scripted or you're going to end up forgetting key points.
Yeah.
And that's my problem. It would be helpful if I almost had someone there that is, kind of with me to at least like say, hey, ask me some of the questions. If we're going to do it ad lib that way, but if not, then I just need to do a video and then come back later and actually do an overlay of the voice. So yes, if you guys can come help me, we can get some videos put together.
Dude, I'm
you already
down.
know your problem.
Yeah,
That's the first step.
Yeah.
And now you just need to fix it.
Yeah.
First step. True.
Hey, like we've said before, we don't live too far apart.
No, we don't.
So you just call me.
Okay. I will.
I will come set aside some time and I'll come over there and stand off camera and ask you questions and do whatever. I'll be your Vanna White and point at shit. I don't care.
You'd be a
Hell
hand
yeah.
Yeah. I have nice hands.
That's weird.
Yeah, but no, you're right though. I mean, that's a good point to bring up and stuff. And the first and the one thing I didn't want to do, I didn't want to start something and then not continue on with it, because I mean that's kind of what everyone goes through, right? We don't want to start projects and then not finish them.
Yeah.
And another part of just really with the YouTube stuff is like I have such a love for flying drones.
Yeah.
So that obviously takes time away. I've been studying to try to get this remote pilot license, and it's a start-stop process. You start getting into, more stuff, and then it's like I keep getting. It's like a squirrel. It's like a dog that sees a squirrel. It's like oh, squirrel. So
He's like the dog from Up.
that's it.
Doug.
Yep.
That's it. I'm
Start
Doug,
calling-
baby.
Start calling him Doug.
Start calling him Doug. Will you be my friend? That's great.
Squirrel.
Where are you going? The master says that is a bad idea. You cannot go there.
That's me. So
We
yeah,
gotta
it's
buy him a cone of shame though.
Yes.
Oh, what now?
The cone of
The
shame.
cone of
The
shame.
cone of shame. Okay.
Yeah. Every time you don't put out a new video
Yeah.
on time, we're going to make you wear the cone of shame.
Okay. You know what? We can deal with
We'll
that.
start at 5 minutes, and then each infraction, you just have to keep adding time. So if Jeremy doesn't show up to help you, cone of shame.
Cone of shame. Gotcha.
Yes, I accept that. That's a consequence.
It's got to be fair.
Yeah.
Across
It's
the
gotta be
board.
fair
Across
across
the
the
board.
board.
I am 100%. Everybody gets treated with the same fucking rules. I'm fine with that. So
What about you, Chris? We got to come up with a cone of shame for you. You got to.
yeah.
Man, I don't know, because I don't want to do that stuff.
What?
I'm not into the techie thing. I get mad when my phone doesn't work right.
I'll tell you what.
We'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, work in progress.
Got to get that Jeep lined out, and then that way you can
I
start.
thought you were going to do
throwing
that
some of
yesterday.
content.
No.
No, his Jeep's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Not too much
I thought you
time.
were going to do the Rust thing yesterday.
No, it's
No, not yet.
We need the weather to stabilize a little bit.
70
Gotcha.
to 90, right?
Yeah.
But preferably 80.
Yeah.
I'll be your navigator.
And not
Fuck
raining.
that guy. He's mean.
Whatever, bro.
But no, we do need to get that going. How many cans you think it'll take?
For the hood,
Right? Yeah.
probably about. Depends on how many coats. Maybe 3,
3 coats?
4.
I think he needs to buy a motorcycle.
Oh, gosh. Another toy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Then we have 3 people go on a trip. We just need one more. Because it's weird having 3 guys on a hotel room.
So one more makes it better.
That's right.
Say so.
You can't have one open spot in the bed, man. That's just weird.
Nothing to see here. We're fine here.
Wow. No, I was kind of thinking the same thing. No, that's funny,
I mean,
man.
you get 4 people going, you get 2 hotel rooms.
There you go.
Now you each have your own bed.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
That was a good clarification.
Explain that.
Man, you guys
Yeah.
are weird.
It's just the way it came out.
Yeah. Who's gonna if you have 3 people and you share a hotel room, you either double up in one bed, that's
Yep.
awkward,
Yep.
or you get a rollaway bed and somebody gets screwed on the shitty bed, and none of us are young,
No. Unless you get lucky and there's a couch. That's the only thing. But like
and those
you said,
couches suck.
they do suck. You'll get a chair.
Yeah, you get a hard
With
office chair.
With a neck roll, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? To kind of keep
I mean-
your neck from.
Yeah.
We're at that age now. You tie your shoe wrong, or you sleep wrong, and you
Put your socks on
yeah,
wrong.
or you sneeze. You're like, oh, I'm down for a week.
Yeah.
You're right. Or just opening something from a cabinet door.
Yeah.
You know, just like, it's like, oh my God. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't take a full breath.
Yep. I've been there, done that. It ain't great.
I tell you what, I do use those massage guns.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
that's
I've
trendy.
got one.
I know it's
They
like
work.
I know it's like an air fryer. I mean, everything is trendy right these days,
Yeah.
But dude,
Got an air fryer too.
yeah. Aren't they like the best
They
thing?
are.
They're so much better than
The
microwaves.
Ninja thing is amazing because it'll grill, it'll fry, air fry.
Oh, you got one of those?
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
expensive
you got
one.
the nicer one.
It was a gift.
Uh-huh.
You got an air fryer?
I do not.
Ah, we got.
His air fryer got shipped to my house because it was a Christmas
No,
present for
that's
his
not
wife.
an air fryer. That was
Oh.
the Instapot.
Oh, the Instapot.
I've got 3 of those. 2 or 3. They're different sizes. I'm like, you know what? You do the cooking. You buy what you want. Because I'm going to end up buying another gun or 2 here pretty quick. And she never says no.
But getting back though, those massage guns do work.
Yeah.
I mean,
See,
especially
great.
for little stuff like that. Whenever we're kind of at that age,
Yeah, and
like we all are.
I've got 2 of them.
Oh, the massage
And-
guns.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
What do you know then?
I feel like they work about 50% of the time for me, and sometimes I think maybe it's because I use them for too long of a time. Like I need to
Yeah, there's like a 5-10 minute time limit on it.
yeah,
Because they used them on me during therapy for my shoulder and my hips.
yeah,
And they were, because with the hips, it affects your back,
yeah,
and my lower back would just be in knots.
Lock up. Yeah.
And it was it was already hard to get up because the hip surgery, and then you add that, and the muscles they're compensating, and all it's all plays in. Massage gun was a lifesaver. Every time I went to therapy, is last 10-15 minutes. Massage gun. It was about 10 minutes.
nice.
Yeah.
But
they are
it was
game
longer because it was
changers.
both sides. Because you have to hit the entire lower back. So it's
All right. Well, Jarrett, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on,
be
guys.
part of the rambling.
Yeah. So, what's your YouTube page? Is Tech Under
Yeah.
Fire?
Tech Under Fire.
Tech Under Fire. So we'll get some more stuff.
Work in progress.
Work in progress. We're gonna get some more stuff uploaded onto that soon.
Absolutely.
So, Chris, thanks for stopping by, buddy.
Yeah. Can't wait to go home.
Yeah, we ain't going anywhere for a while. We're gonna run up and eat real quick because Mike will be here soon. So,
Same here. I'm going to go grab me something.
so everybody, thanks for stopping by. Just remember, if you're struggling, reach out. There are resources out there for you. If you know somebody that's struggling, reach out. Let them know you care. Let them know what resources are available. Check out his YouTube page. I promise there's going to be more content up there pretty soon. And if there's not,
I'll be wearing the cone.
yeah,
Cone of shame.
Cone of
No,
shame.
that's not it goes around your neck, man.
Oh, man.
It's like
gonna
this.
be-
It's the
It's like
dog.
the
it's
dog
gonna
cone.
like this.
Yeah, it's the dog cone.
It can't be the cone of shame like this.
And just remember, keep your standards high.
Yep. There. Yes.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Thanks, and thanks for stopping by.